Donuts.
Welcome to the Dolls and Donuts podcast, episode 13. Woo, our Halloween edition. I don't know why I did that.
Can you be cuter? Can you be any cuter? I don't know if you know, but the people who are listening might not know that you're doing the spooky hand gestures.
Creeping up behind you. It's the, what's the name of the vampire? The very earliest one in, the black and white. He's like, bleh. He has, the big long nails, and he's like, ugh.
Oh, it's not Dracula? I don't know.
No, pre-Dracula.
Oh, the
No.
It starts with the N?
I keep on saying
Nefer something?
Anyway, him. Nosferatu.
I was so close. I said Nef.
Yeah.
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. Coming to get you. That's who I was channeling with the finger. He's his long nails, and he's gonna.
I love how Halloween's supposed to be super scary, and I just turned it into this cutesy thing.
No, I prefer the cutesy thing. I don't like being scared.
I don't either.
I think all the cute things about it.
I made ghosts over the weekend, and they're the cutest ghosts ever. So what else are we doing for Halloween to celebrate this Halloween edition of our podcast? We're going to talk about our Halloween party that we're going to. Do you know what you're making? It's a potluck.
No, I've been too absorbed with my costume.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know. I think I just might bring something and be make up some word. If I was thinking about bringing the garlicky kale from Whole Foods because I'm obsessed with it now. That
they call it vampire.
Vampire repellent.
There's the Brad's kale chips. Call them vampire or something. The garlic ones.
What's that one called? Shit. Vampire killer kale chips.
That'd be perfect.
I'll bring the garlicky kale, which I will not cook.
No.
But
I mean, we're going straight from work. It's like a right after work on Friday party, right?
No, it's on Saturday.
Oh, it's on Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Okay, yeah. So I'll probably bring the garlicky kale, and I'll be like, it's vampire killer kale.
Yes.
Oh, look at that. Done. Done and dusted in 30 seconds. That's what I'm bringing, Robin.
Okay.
I'm not making anything. I'm making my costume. That's enough.
That's a lot. We'll be working hard on our costumes. I think that counts.
Yeah, at the book club, 2 weeks ago, Lizzie brought the garlic kale, and I was like, whoa, where has this been all my life? And so, yesterday, we went to get groceries, and I was like, I'm getting the garlic kale, and I filled this whole thing. Matt wanted to, get some other food from, the hot bar and stuff, so we sat down, and I'm like, I'm just gonna have a little bit of this garlic kale before we get home. Between the two of us, we ate the whole thing. We walked out of there with no garlic kale. So I'm, obsessed.
It's really good. It's so easy to eat a whole bunch.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. My mouth is watering right now thinking about it. So I will bring one for the party and one in my purse for me.
So have you ever seen my dehydrator?
Yeah.
So you know how big
I've seen it
is.
around. Yeah.
Okay.
It's big.
So
it's like if Fred Flintstone had a dehydrator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can fill that thing with kale chips and they'll be gone in 2 days. Bunches of kale. It's just too easy to eat. It's so delicious.
I don't love kale chips.
Wait, so the garlicky kale you're talking about is not kale chips?
No.
Oh, like the Brad's, not like that.
No.
Oh.
But it was garlic kale.
Sauteed.
I wanted the name. I wanted to steal the name for when I bring it.
Okay. So you're going to get sauteed kale from Whole Foods instead of just making it?
Yeah, because there's it's in this garlic dressing and stuff. 1, I won't have time.
Okay.
And 2, I don't want to.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been good. I've been bringing
I think we could just focus on number 2, really.
I've been good making stuff and bringing stuff to potlucks. This time I'm, and it's, like you said, it's vampire repellent.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with it. I'm going to take that and run with it.
Okay.
What are you going to bring?
I'm going to make BATS, which is an acronym I just made up. And it's going to be bacon, avocado, tomato, kind of like a BLT. But it's going to be a bat, and the bacon is going to be bat-shaped.
What's the S? Oh, did you say bats?
Well, plural. More than one bat. There's going to be a bat, and then another bat, and then another bat.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's capital B-A-T, lowercase s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
Or B, I would say uppercase B, period. Uppercase A, period. Uppercase T, period, lowercase s.
No one uses periods and acronyms anymore.
I guess I'm just old.
I mean, I put them in when I edit reports at work.
No, that's at work. Well,
Yeah.
that doesn't count. That's not your real life.
No.
That's
And
not
I
real
only
Robin.
I only do it for the US.
I don't know. I do stuff with like Asia and stuff, and I don't know. I never paid attention.
And so that's our Halloween in a nutshell. In an eggshell. In a pumpkin patch.
But other than that, today we're going to tell you all about what's going on in the animal rights community, what's been happening in Robin's Vegan Dollhouse, and we had an interview with Sunny from veganbeautyreview.com, who most of you probably heard of. Very popular.
And now she's a famous book author.
Yes.
And now it's time for Ask Ashley.
That's me.
What's been going on with the animals?
Okay, I'll start with good news first. So TripAdvisor is going to stop selling tickets to many animal attractions. So TripAdvisor, I'm sure you know of TripAdvisor. It's a very popular travel website. And they're going to stop selling tickets to hundreds of attractions where travelers come into contact with wild animals or endangered species held in captivity. So that's like elephant rides, swimming with dolphin programs, and any kind of program where you would pet an endangered species.
Nice.
Which is great because I'll get like emails from like Living Social or Groupon or TripAdvisor, stuff like that, and it's like, oh, these are deals for you, and because I look at animal stuff, they'll be like, oh, swim with dolphins. I'm like, fuck you, get out of my inbox. So it makes me resent the company. So I'm glad to see TripAdvisor stepping up and doing this. And the way this all came about was very interesting because most of the time when things like this happen, they're being berated by animal welfare, animal rights organizations, groups, to be like, do the right thing here, you know,
Right.
don't sell these because it's not a humane and it's not good for the animals. But it says that this decision actually came 6 months after research and consultation with animal groups like PETA, Association of Zoos and Aquariums, and Global Wildlife Conservation, and others. So it's almost like they
Reached out to them.
this was like a communal thing where they were like, we, you know, obviously probably it was brought to their attention, I'm sure, by some of these organizations, but that they were open to discussing this and they wanted, this is an issue, we want to know more and we want to work with you.
Nice.
Which is usually not, it's usually just public pressure, and these companies bend to that, and it doesn't seem like that was the way. But PETA said, TripAdvisor is a leader in the industry, and we understand and applaud that this is a precedent-setting move, which it is, because a lot of these companies like TripAdvisor offer these animal interaction experiences, which are not good for them.
What is their main goal? Like, what are they really selling? Do they sell tickets to things?
TripAdvisor, I know, is like a review site. They do a lot of like reviews, but they do sell. It's just it's a travel website, so that's very broad. They do like a lot of like attraction reviews, like, you know, like museums and monuments or whatever could be an attraction, or people review on there, whether you know it's worth your time to go or not. And they also sell tickets to things as well. So in addition to stopping selling these kind of tickets, they announced that they're going to create like a wildlife tourism educational portal, which is interesting. So they're going to partner with leading animal protection organizations, and that will inform the site's users who review attractions and general visitors about animal welfare issues. So what that means is they're not going to, because like I said, it's a heavily review site, like reviewing different attractions. So like if a program that they would have sold tickets for is still on there as a review, okay, the people can still that don't buy tickets for them, obviously, because they won't offer it anymore, but they just show up and they buy a ticket and they go on TripAdvisor and leave a review. They're still going to leave those up, but they're going to have a little icon on those particular experiences or the sites with a little paw, and it's going to be like, it's going to prompt people to like click it, and it's going to...
That's so cute. I hope the button is actually a paw.
It is. It said it's going to be a paw.
That's really adorable.
So it's going to be a little paw they can click on, and it's going to just kind of educate the person on not particularly the exact experience they had, but why things like this, you know, aren't good for animals, and why TripAdvisor doesn't sell this experience anymore. And it's also, like it said, it's gonna the protection organizations are probably gonna provide a lot of this information to TripAdvisor to put on their website.
Nice.
So TripAdvisor's CEO said, "We believe the end result of our efforts will be enabling travelers to make more thoughtful choices about whether to visit an animal attraction and to write more meaningful reviews about those attractions." So they're kind of doing it twofold. They're like not offering the tickets, and they're kind of, by allowing them to still be reviewed, they're kind of, because you could say, oh, well, they should just take on all the reviews. People can't review these experiences, but they're kind of like, people are going to do it anyway. And when they come to write a review, they get some information, so maybe they won't do it again. Or people that are looking there to see if they want to do it, they'll see that. This information will get in front of these people. So I think it's a really good strategy.
Yeah.
But Sarah Gavin, the vice president of global communications at Expedia, which I'm not sure is like a parent company of TripAdvisor, I'm not sure. But she said of animal welfare and the travel and booking industry in general, that we do think it's an important issue, and we want to be part of the solution, but we need help from the animal welfare community to make it a reality, which I think is an important quote, because like I said before, usually they're just like pressed upon by the public and they just give up because they just don't want to deal with it anymore. You know, they don't want the hassle of, you know, animal rights activists or concerned people, you know, berating them constantly about whatever they offer. But it seemed that in this situation, they really wanted to know more about it, and they wanted the organizations to work with them to make it right, which is great. So most of you know about Hurricane Matthew that came through on the East Coast and caused a lot of damage. So that's what our next story is referring to, and the title was "Flooded North Carolina Farms Are Likely Littered with Drowned Livestock." So this is a sad one. It says at least tens of thousands of chickens, hogs, and other livestock are feared dead in the floodwaters that washed over factory farms in North Carolina following Hurricane Matthew. So North Carolina is a big farming industry state, so this was like really bad. They said that they don't even know how many animals are maybe floating around in the waterways or trapped in the barns still, because at the point that this article was written, the water hadn't subsided, so they really don't know what they're dealing with. They're just saying that the best quotes that they can give right now is a lot of poultry animals, thousands. So they're saying have been drowned, and more casualties are still expected, because if they're alive, even if they're still alive when this was written, they're stranded. People can't get to them to feed them or anything like that. So they're saying this is like a huge loss of life, and they don't even know how many. They're saying probably millions of animals, and they're saying that just one plant in North Carolina, which is the top pork producing region in the state and has the largest pork producing plant, has more than 2 million hogs there a year. That's at one plant. So there's going to be a lot of dead animals there because of this flooding. And another kind of problem that's a side effect of this factory farming is all of like the manure pools that they have, right? They have these huge pools because they have to put all this huge amounts of manure somewhere. So they have these like huge pools of manure, like kind of surrounding the outlying areas of these farms. And of course it's raining, right? It's flooding. So they're really concerned about these manure pools. Obviously, they've flooded. And they're just, the water is all just mixing together and all this. So all this manure is going into like the ground and other places and going into the water system. And that's not even to talk about like carcasses. They can only move them so fast, you know, so animals are decaying in the water. And all this is going into the water system that we're drinking. So it's just this big mess, not even to talk about the loss of life of animals and people that were killed because of the flooding. But, you know, this is just a lesson of when you have something that's too big to deal with. You know, you have a situation, you have too many animals, there's nothing you can do because you've got it so big and this industry is so out of control that there's nothing they can do for these animals. They basically just had to leave because there's no way you can move 2 million hogs to somewhere safe. It's just not feasible. But, you know, they don't really care about that as long as it doesn't flood them all out. You know, they just kill them and move on. But I think it's like I said, it's a real lesson on when this industry gets too big and too out of control and all they care about is, you know, the many number of animals that can be processed in a day or whatever time frame, and when a disaster happens, they're just left to fend for themselves because it's too much to handle. So it's really sad, and it's similar to the situation with the cows that were all frozen that we talked about months ago, where they get to a point where they can't even be responsible for the animals anymore. So it's sad, and hopefully, hopefully a lot of animals survived, but just to go back to a not good situation if they did live. So
I don't understand why we have laws about some animals and rules about people not being allowed to have too many, but not others.
Well, there's that. There's the like how many animals can be in a residence. Like they like a 1V line is always like, if they did that to a dog, but you would be arrested. X whatever and you can insert any number of practices or behaviors that you see in a slaughterhouse. That if someone did that to a dog or a cat or any kind of household pet, they would be in jail. So that's something they're very separate. You know what I mean? The animals we love and the animals you eat, right? So because it's an industry, and they have a lot of power. I think that's why a lot of these laws are like cut. The line in that sand is made by, I think, the industries, because they have a lot of money in the government. So I think that's partially where that comes from, which is sad. And also it goes on to say that while they can't save these animals because there's so many, also the health risks that these factory farms face to the people in the communities living around them.
Is there like an environmental protection agency that monitors this kind of
stuff? Yeah, it's called EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. Yeah, that's actually the name of it.
Are they doing anything about this?
I don't know much about the EPA. I know a lot of people have problems with the EPA, like
not doing their job,
like the USDA. Like how those kind of problems with the USDA and the kind of like corruption in there and the misleading health stuff. I know people have some of those similar problems with the EPA. I don't know, because situations like this with all these animals and all this waste this was waiting to happen for when a disaster happens like that, the loss of life and then the health of the people that live around. That's just not. There was no way to avoid it. You know what I mean? So I hope something comes from this. I don't know if anything will, because I'm sure all these farmers care about is, oh great, I've lost all this money because these animals are dead and I can't sell their meat, which is unfortunate. That I just hope that something comes from it that's good for the animals and the people that have to live near slaughterhouses, the air and the water pollution and all of that. All right, so our last story is a controversial one. I wouldn't say it's good news, but maybe not too bad. It depends on your point of view. So most of you probably have heard about this already, that Tyson, you might know them as like a chicken. They probably do other meat as well, but they're a big chicken processor. They sell chicken nuggets and stuff like that, and very looked down upon as far as animal welfare and animal rights. They are like one of the big evil ones, I guess, if you want to say that, regarded as a big bad in animal processing. And so they have bought a 5% stake in Beyond Meat.
I mean, what does that give them? Like a seat on the board?
It's a minority stake. It's only 5%. I don't know. I don't think they're going to have, they probably can go to like a shareholders meeting. I don't think they're going to get a seat on the board. I don't think they're going to get that. But they're a part owner. 5%. But they're a part owner now. And of course, Beyond Meat's Facebook has been blowing up with not happy vegans, that they've sold out, they're only doing it for the money, and that now if you're buying Beyond Meat, you're supporting the meat industry, you're supporting Tyson, who, as I said, even in comparison to the other meat companies, is pretty frowned upon. They're all bad, but Tyson tends to be caught in violations a lot of the time. So I just want to read a little quote from that Beyond Meat released, and they have a big blog post, which it will be in the show notes. Huge statement about this, but I just want to read a little bit of it. And it says, today we take another step towards the broader market as we welcome Tyson Foods to Beyond Meat as a minority investor. The investment provides an opportunity for each party to get to know one another and explore possible collaborations. Tyson touches 2 out of 5 plates in the United States. My willingness to engage with Tyson may unsettle the most ardent supporters of our brand. Tyson will also likely hear disapproval from certain stakeholders, suppliers, and customers. Yet in both cases, I like to think that our relationship is a hopeful sign. A sign that we may be moving beyond Oprah versus Cattleman and towards a productive collaboration that expands our consumer choice. So where they're going with that, and I did read the rest of their statement as well, they're trying to think bigger, and this is kind of the people that would be pro this happening. They're kind of coming from the stance that if you don't, they said that Tyson's not going to change them, and they're not going to change Tyson. But they're saying that having Tyson as involved in Beyond Meat in any way is only going to help the brand reach more people and educate more people. So they're kind of, they didn't say this, but my kind of take on it was that even though they don't agree, and they did say that they do not agree with Tyson and what they do, but it's going to save more animals to kind of get in bed. I don't know if that's the right phrase to say, but like to get in bed with Tyson.
You can always talk about getting in bed.
I don't know if they're really getting in bed with them. I don't know if that's the right phrase, but they definitely think that this is, like they said, Tyson touches 2 out of every 5 plates in the U.S. That's a lot of people that don't even know who Beyond Meat is. Okay? So they're thinking like just, what's the word? Distribution-wise, that having Tyson around or even involved in the smallest way can only get Beyond Meat onto more plates and into more people's homes, which in turn makes them eat less meat because they're eating Beyond Meat. And I get that. I mean, I am, as we talk about in our interview later, about the whole parent company versus a cruelty-free or vegan company being bought out or invested in. We have this conversation later in our interview, and I am of the mind of supporting a company, even if they are owned by a parent company, because I feel like you're supporting a vegan / cruelty-free / ethical brand item, whatever product, and you're showing that parent company that it's valuable, that people care about this, and that they should start thinking about moving their models or their business models a different way. And I kind of look at this too. It's a 5% stake. They're not a majority. They're not like 50. They don't own 51%. They're not gonna buy them up and shut them down. While I'm not like jumping at joy the idea of Tyson being involved, especially Tyson, because I do have a sore spot for Tyson. They're like not my. They're pretty much at the bottom of my list. But I got to think about, does the end justify the means? And I think it will. A lot of people both think it's not, that it won't, and it's wrong, and that's it. They're not buying Beyond Meat anymore, which I don't think is the solution. But I mean, that's fine. I respect people if they think that they don't want to buy Beyond Meat anymore, that they've sold out. I just personally think that if it's going to save more animals, and it's, I don't know. It's a tough one. It really is.
As long as Tyson doesn't have decision-making power, I don't see why it's a bad thing.
Yeah, I think
the good outweighs the bad.
I think so too. Yeah, it's not all great and it's not all bad. I think, I would say that. It definitely leans towards better, and I think that's where you have to kind of look at it. It's only 5%, and they've made it very clear in that statement that they are not going to just change them. They're not going to change their beliefs, and they made that very clear in the statement, which you can read in the show notes, like I said. But this is very controversial. A lot of vegans are not happy, and I can understand that. But I think bigger picture here. And this is going to happen again and again, because vegan food or vegan brands, alternative meats, all of these different things, we're reaching a point where we're hitting the ceiling, I think, because they're getting so big and big and big, and it's growing so much. That's why these companies and industries are interested in investing, because they're starting to make a lot of money in these like vegan products. And I think because a lot of these companies are small, they're startups, and now they're blowing up, they don't really have the capacity to like break through this next level. And I think that's why a lot of them are opening up to some of these companies that they probably wouldn't have before, because they're looking at the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I like to look at it.
Was Beyond Meat the company that we talked about a few months back that had McDonald's CEO join them? Or was that someone else?
I remember that, and I don't recall. I think it might have been Beyond Meat.
I think so too. So they're definitely like...
Yeah, it's
moving,
happening.
Yeah, they're trying to move in the direction of getting more people.
Yeah, and I think I remember when we were talking about that it's like the guy was like a marketing genius. Because let's put it this way, like if there's one thing if there's two things McDonald's does, it's marketing and real estate that they do very, very well. And if we can get some of that marketing, like for the vegan companies, it would really do a lot for them. You can say getting in bed with the devil or whatever, but it's a different time right now, I think, because they're really hitting maximum velocity with some of these brands and the food, and I think that's why we're seeing this more and more now than we have in the past.
I mean, honestly, the vegans were upset then when that happened, and Beyond Meat is kind of like Hampton Creek. They're not really targeting the vegan community. They're targeting everyone else.
Which is what we should be doing.
Yeah.
Why we don't need to be preached to the choir.
Yeah,
you don't need to preach to the choir. I mean, we already know, like...
So if the vegans are going to stop supporting them, that's okay, because the people who are going to be buying it are the ones we want to be buying it anyway.
Which are meat eaters.
Yeah.
So you can look at it that way. I mean, if the company... and we've talked about this previously, too, like, intention is very important to me. Do I think that Beyond Meat is taking these people on to, I don't know, fool the vegans and like change everything and like sell out to a meat company? I don't think so. I think they're really thinking that this can put them out there and like bring them to the next level. It's in some way, and in turn save more animals. And they talk about the environment in their statement, that's very important to them, to further their causes, their ethical causes that this company believes in. I feel this is the intention of this partnership. And I'm not totally upset about it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, these are the companies that have a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not really feasible right now for another, like Gardein, to buy a 5% stock in Beyond Meat. You know, they're all trying to burst through this like ceiling. And unfortunately, companies like this are going to be able to help that happen. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So... draw your own conclusions, but I guess those are just my thoughts on it.
And feel free to share your conclusions that you draw by leaving us comments.
Yeah, just nicely.
We accept all opinions, as long as they're nice.
Yeah, I mean, you can, I was like, ugh, when I looked at this, I was like, oh, great, I mean, I wasn't like super happy about it, but you give it some thought and think about the big picture, and I can live with it at this point. Nothing's really happened yet, so I can live with it. Okay, Robin, so what's been happening at the dollhouse?
Well, my most recent is my Pikachu soup, which I edited a video for. I'm trying to do more videos. I'm really bad at it. If anybody out there wants to train me on this, I'm taking applications.
On Instagram?
I'm doing them... First, I'm editing them in iMovie and then uploading to YouTube. But Instagram only allows a 1 minute max video.
Yeah.
So then I have to edit it further.
Okay, yeah.
To put it on Instagram.
But feedback, I'm not into this particularly, but I enjoyed your video when you were like, oh, how to make like the coffee, iced coffee. Mm-hmm. I thought that was cute. I actually watched it like twice. I don't even drink coffee. Okay. So I liked those.
Nice. So, did you watch the Pikachu soup one? I think I did.
On Instagram? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I did. But for some reason, the coffee one I thought was really cute, and I liked the little music, and I just liked it, the way you did it.
Yeah.
So
maybe the music makes a difference. I have all the hardest time with the music. I sent emails to bands that I like and asked if I could use their music, and their replies are all the same. Like, you're totally welcome to on our end, but YouTube are total dicks, and they will kick you off.
Okay. I didn't think you were going to say YouTube. I was going to say, well, our like record label or whatever, because they're not the only, half these artists don't even own their music anymore. Yeah. Unfortunately. But
So that's, I guess, not going to work for me. Unless I changed the music for the Instagram ones, which I could do, I guess. Anyway, so I did a Pikachu soup, and it's a really simple soup recipe that only has a few ingredients. So the soup itself is very easy to make, and I made a little tutorial on how to decorate it to look like Pikachu. And
It was cute.
I think it's adorable.
It was cute. Then
But
you have
the
to like
soup is
smash
good by
his face
itself,
with a spoon and eat his face.
Shh,
Which isn't nice.
no, that's
not
not
very
how it
vegan
is.
of you.
He wants you to eat the soup.
Those are Halloween. Eat my face.
And so I also made narwhal donuts, which were...
Oh, I saw those. Those are so cute.
That was for, there's a Vegan Mofo, which is a bunch of vegan bloggers kind of do this thing once a year where you get little prompts and kind of post themed things, and everyone shares their items with everyone else using certain hashtags and such. And so last year and the year before, I think, I participated. And so they're doing some mini challenges before the actual challenge starts. And in the mini challenges, it was to make a recipe from your foodie crush. And my foodie crush isn't vegan, and so I veganized a recipe, although she doesn't post her recipes. I don't know that much about her, but I think she lives in Australia, and everything she makes is so cute, like so cute. Adorbs. And so my blog post is up, and I definitely credit her for giving me the inspiration and for being my foodie crush. But yes, narwhal donuts. So that's on the website.
They were adorable.
And things that aren't on the website that I've been up to food-wise is I made a hash brown omelet. I don't know if that's what you call it. Instead of the egg, I used hash browns. And then I put all this stuff in the middle.
I love hash browns.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You would have liked this, I think. It was a big hit.
If it's hash browns, whatever, I'll eat it.
Yeah.
I remember you talking about like the little hash brown like nests or
Oh,
something you
yeah.
made. I'm just like, oh,
yeah.
the hash brown baskets or whatever you made.
We should
once.
do a
Oh my
brunch.
God. Oh.
Do you want to do a brunch next month?
Okay.
Okay.
And will there be hash browns?
Yes, there will be.
I'll bring the garlicky kale.
So I went to Venice, and Venice is the most vegan-friendly place. I had no idea.
Yeah, I had no idea either because I don't really hang out in Venice.
No.
Often.
And
I'm just like, these people are weird. Bye. I'm going back to Silver Lake.
I had never been there before, and I've hardly even heard of it as a place. It's such a strange little beach town.
It is very strange.
It's like
not even Santa Cruz
got
strange.
frozen in time, but not really because everything's dilapidated.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have like the charm of Santa Cruz.
No.
Which is supposed to,
no,
keep
no,
Santa
no,
Cruz
not at
weird.
all.
Like Venice does not even have the charm of that. It's like,
No.
what the hell is this
I mean,
place?
they definitely kept it weird, but it's like they built it really nice in the 70s or 80s or 60s. I don't know.
And then just left.
And then just
left it.
everyone just left it. It's so strange. But when you leave the beach part and you go into the downtown part, that's all very modern and very hipstery. And I ate at quite a few places that were like newish that I liked. So I had Sweet Lucy's, which was an ice cream place that had, I would say, about half of the flavors were vegan.
That's good.
Yeah. It was really good. It was
And
it's a coconut based.
Yeah, if you're not going to like an all vegan place, you're lucky if there's one or two flavors.
Agreed.
It's all or nothing, really.
Yeah.
Usually. So that's really good.
And so I went there twice, and both times I really liked what I had. So I recommend that place for sure. And other places that were in that same general vicinity were Blue Star Donuts, which had, I think, 4 vegan flavors. And I had a really, really good mimosa flavored one with candied oranges on top, which I really liked. And The Butcher's Daughter was another place that was in that neighborhood. And it's a vegetarian place and nothing like The Butcher's Son, which is what we have in the Bay Area. So The Butcher's Son is more like a deli, and this place was very, very hipstery and more like vegetable and grain type stuff, it seemed like.
Okay.
So we went there for dinner and went back for breakfast. And I thought it was delicious. And my favorite thing there was this bacon called adzuki bacon, which I'm assuming was made out of adzuki beans. And I came home and tried to replicate it, and I'm still working on that. I'll update you.
Oh,
You're taking some home.
I'm taking some home. I'll report back on that.
Okay. And then the other place that was vegan that was in that neighborhood was called Plant Food and Wine.
I've heard of there. I've heard of that place. Yeah. I've never been, but I've heard of it.
So that place was all vegan and delicious and very fancy. And I had things that I had never heard of before. And I posted
that's
all that
that's
on
saying
my
something.
Instagram.
Because you're like, look at this wazaka fruit. I'm like, what? What is that? You're like, you don't know about a wazaka fruit? I'm like, no. When it comes to like food, I'm the clueless corner person.
Yeah.
The rest of life, you're the clueless corner person.
I was the clueless corner person when it came to food.
That means it must be really obscure.
Yeah. Okay. I had to ask her a lot of questions. Everyone who would go by who worked there, I was like, I have a question. I even was Googling things so that because I felt bad asking them all of the questions. There was a thing called sea beans that were really, really salty. Everything was just delicious. So I highly recommend that place. And then when we ventured into LA a little bit more, I checked out Ramen Hood for my first time, which I thought the ramen was definitely on par with the ramen at Shizen.
Okay. I'm not a huge
ramen fan.
I like noodles.
Yeah.
I like noodles in general.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like the spicy garlic ramen at Tyson.
Okay.
So maybe I would like that.
Yeah. I think you would. I did not order the egg because it freaks me out. But I tasted David's egg and I was like...
Is it supposed to be like a fake hard-boiled egg?
Mm-hmm.
Or not fake?
Yeah. It's supposed to be a hard-boiled egg, yeah. And it looks so real. I didn't even post a picture of this on my Instagram, but it looks very real. And it was just too
close.
Yeah, too close.
Like the patties sometimes for both of us.
Mm-hmm,
beef
exactly.
patties.
Yeah. And so I went back to Little Pine, but for brunch this time, which for anybody who has been hesitating to go to Little Pine because it's expensive to go there for dinner, the brunch is quite affordable. So I encourage people to go for brunch if you're trying to save money.
Yeah, I've been there for dinner.
Because for the brunch, it's just one plate instead of multiple plates.
Yeah.
And it's like a normal price.
Yeah, I'm very cheap in general, but when it comes to food, I do not care. I do not look at prices. When it comes to food, like that's my indulgence. Food and travel is my indulgence in life. And everything else, I'm like, oh, too expensive. You'll hear what I'm talking about in the interview. I'm like dollar makeup or whatever. Like, but with food, I don't even look twice. So regardless, I'd like to go back for brunch to try something different at Little Pine because Little Pine is amazing.
Yeah, it was
good.
good.
I'll try the brunch next time.
The French toast was delicious. They have a pastry of the day, which was a strawberry Pop-Tart.
Oh, I would want that strawberry Pop-Tart on top of the French toast.
It was quite good. And then the only other place I went to was Pomegranate, which is a newish dessert place that is gluten-free. I don't think it's all raw, but it's gluten-free and vegan. But so a lot of the desserts kind of reminded me of a raw dessert. And everything was really, really cute. You would have really liked it. Like, it looked like you would want to sit and have a spot of tea inside.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was really cute. And all the desserts were just, like, so little and adorable.
Oh. I'll have to go there next time.
Yeah, so that place was really fun, too. And is that it? Oh, I did try something new off the Butcher's Son menu this weekend, which was the buffalo chicken. Have you had it?
No, but I'd be into that. Because I live off of the buffalo bomber at Veggie Grill.
Okay, so I do want to warn you, it's not as spicy as the Veggie Grill. So if you're into the spiciness...
I like a little bit of spice, but I wouldn't dislike it.
Okay.
I don't go to it for the spiciness.
Okay,
put it that way.
Great.
I would be happy with whatever spicy level.
The one at Veggie Grill, but I can't eat it because it's too spicy for me.
Okay. No, it's fine. Mild would be good too.
This one is so much better.
Oh.
It's like a crispy outside and just smothered in that sauce.
Oh boy.
It's so good.
Oh.
So I've been trying not to order the same thing over and over when I go there.
That's my problem. I find something I like and I just
I know, me too, but I'm trying really hard to try everything.
Because there's that one time when you're like, this wasn't as good as the other thing I get.
Yeah.
And you're like, why did I do it?
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, that's the grinder.
Oh, I haven't had that. Which one's that?
It's like got a lot of like shredded stuff, like veggies and meat.
Okay. No,
And
I've only actually had two things there, I think. I've only had the Philly cheesesteak, whatever they call it, and then the meatball sub. I think there's only two that I've had.
The meatball sub is good.
Oh.
I have a hard time not getting the meatball
Yeah,
sub.
I've always been a meatball sub fan, even back in my pre-vegan days. So I'm always like, want a vegan meatball sub. Always.
Yeah.
Always up for that.
Yeah, I used to always get the meatless Mike at Ike's.
Yeah, yeah.
And that didn't even have fried mozzarella on it.
I know. Oh my god.
Anyway. So yeah, that's all I've been eating. So we're super excited because we're having an interview today with Sunny from Vegan Beauty Review, and we've been friends on Instagram for 2 years. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, and so I feel like I have been super excited to follow you, and we've never even talked in person until now, so I'm very excited that you are joining
Is this
us.
in person?
Oh.
Does this count?
Oh, shoot!
Oh, one day.
What is it called when it's not in person, but I'm hearing audibly?
Audibly. It's nice to audibly meet your voice. It's nice to meet your voice.
Yeah. None of those words roll off the tongue.
No, it's not graceful, but it's accurate, I guess.
I'm counting this as us meeting.
That's just a summary of me. Not graceful, but accurate.
It's actually much better that we're not meeting in person right now because I have been wearing pajamas for like 3 days straight.
Oh, girl, we're in the same boat.
Well, I had to go to work today, like a boring person, so.
I think it's more boring that I haven't left my house in 3 days.
No, I'd rather have been home.
So I know that you've been doing beauty blogging for around 10 years. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I started in 2007. And that was like back when there were no vegan beauty blogs. And that's basically why I started it up in the first place, because there was nothing out there. And it was a struggle finding like recommendations and reviews and product suggestions. So I was like, screw it. I'm just going to start this myself.
Yeah, I'm so glad you did because I feel like, okay, so I don't really follow beauty stuff that much. I don't really wear makeup and such, but just trying to find vegan hair products or vegan food items 10 years ago.
Oh, right.
Much different. Do you feel like the vegan beauty scene has changed a lot in the past 10 years?
For sure. When I first started, I feel like I knew every single vegan beauty friendly brand there was, like everyone, every single one. And now there's way too many to keep up with. There's like a gazillion, bunzillion. It's crazy. So it's like a really great thing to see it have, it's exploding and veganism is growing in popularity. It's just, I can't keep up, which is great because there's so many other vegan beauty bloggers nowadays too. So we've got this, this force, this community, and everybody's covering everything. So that's great.
Okay, so when it comes to vegan cosmetics, or cosmetics in general, we know like the whole, over years and years, the whole required testing in China, which a lot of cruelty-free brands here would not be cruelty-free over there because of the regulations over there. I think I remember hearing recently that was no longer required in China. Do you keep up with that, or do you have an update on that issue? Or
you know what, they have there's like slowly updates. I'm not fully up to speed on that, but I think overall still they do require it. I think there's certain items I don't want to say anything because I don't want to give any like false information. But I think at this stage, it's best to stay away from those companies selling in China because it's not a for sure. There's like little loopholes and like it's not a for sure deal because I know when it is, it's going to be like huge news. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's starting to go that way, which is good. But yeah, I agree that I think it's not a done deal. It's not a done deal. So it's just better safe than sorry. But I do think that it's moving that way because I have heard bits and pieces of legislation changing like that. So
hopefully, because that would be so huge, like so incredibly huge.
Yeah, that's the big like elephant in the room, right? With like a cruelty-free product or a vegan brand, it's like, well, do you sell in China? You know what I mean? Like, that's like the big thing that people deal with when they're dealing with cruelty-free brands that are in this country that are cruelty-free.
Is China the only country that does that? That requires that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. They're just the one that's talked about the most. I don't know. I think there are other countries that require maybe. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
That's always that's just like the one that always gets talked about and the one that always gets brought up. So I'm
And
sure there is, but
I wonder if it's because they just happen to sell a lot of shit.
Yeah, it could be. They're
Like,
a huge
they're-
country.
yeah.
Like populous.
And it's so interesting because it doesn't count for their exports. Like they can export stuff and it doesn't have to be tested, but everything that's imported has to be. So it's like, that seems very double standardy.
Yeah, that's not fair at all. So, one of the things I remember the most about you when we first started being Instagram friends is your beautiful hair.
Oh, thank you.
So welcome. And so one of the reasons that I'm bringing it up is because when I was looking for vegan hair products, I had a hard time finding one source that had a really comprehensive list of all the vegan products that you could use. And I wonder if your website includes something like that.
I do have a roundup for like alternative dyes. And regular hair color too. I kind of have two separate posts on that. But yeah, I don't think it's as extensive as it could be. It doesn't have every single brand, but it has every brand that I'm familiar with and that I've like possibly have used, even though I have my favorites. But yeah, I definitely have some resources on my blog for that for sure.
Nice. And what are your favorites? Do you mind telling us?
Well, you know how when you start out, by the way, I love your hair too. You know how when you start out with a specific shade, especially if you're not changing it every few months or whatever, you kind of have to stick. Like for instance, my pink, I kind of have to stick with the same brand because every hot pink is slightly different brand to brand. So lately I've just been getting my hair done at Paul Mitchell. And they don't sell in China. They're cruelty free and they have a ton of vegan products. And their Inkworks, which is their line of like punky colored dyes, is all vegan. So I just use their hot pink and they just have one pink shade. It's just hot pink. So that's what I use. I guess that's my favorite. But Manic Panic's great too, even though I don't know. What's your favorite?
So I'm obsessed with Arctic
Fox, yeah.
Like super obsessed.
Pretty great.
And I feel like I've used Inkworks in the past and it just faded super fast, but your color never looks faded.
Well, two things. They updated their formula, I don't know, like a year ago, like kind of somewhat recently to last longer. And it's a trip because like right after you wash your hair when it's freshly dyed, like you don't even see the pink coming out in the water, which is like, whoa, I guess they did change the formula. It's crazy. And also that, like people ask me like, what's your secret to vibrant hair? And I'm sorry, I just don't wash my hair that often. I just don't. Like dry shampoo is my bae. I use it on the reg. I mean, I do wash my hair, I don't know, once or twice a week. Sometimes I skip, I don't know. And it's not even healthy to wash your hair every other day or every day. So I don't know. If you have fine hair, I think maybe you can't get away with it. But I have such coarse, over-dyed, processed hair. It's like, I could use the oily love, It's so high maintenance, isn't it? Like I always, when my friends are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go pink or blue, I always want to warn them, like it's so high maintenance. Just know what you're in for, because it does wash out like crazy, and you have to touch up your roots, touch up the color, da 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 da.
No, I know. When people ask, people don't usually ask about maintenance actually. And so a lot of people I feel like don't realize, but every once in a while someone asks me like, how often do you dye your hair? I'm like, every week. Like every single time I wash my hair, I dye it. Like
Exactly.
I have to dye for that.
And do you know the trick about putting some of the colored dye in your conditioner? That's supposed to help.
Yeah, totally. I mean, when I dye my hair, because I do pastels, I have to put conditioner in my dye anyway, so it's kind of like giving myself a conditioning treatment once a week.
Yeah, that is quite lovely.
Maybe we can have a little bit more detail about like the best way for people to navigate through your website to find really good information.
I mean, it's really just my search bar. Like if you type in anything, it'll pull up like all the posts related to that. So it's like a fancy answer.
Oh yeah, so this is kind of along the same lines of how do you find things out. So sometimes people give me products, whether it's like a birthday gift or whether it's like something somebody doesn't want anymore and they're like, do you want this? And so I was kind of wondering if you could give our listeners some advice, kind of maybe a step by step on what they would do to try to find out if something's vegan.
Well, nowadays a lot of things are vegan certified. Like you can always look for the Leaping Bunny logo or the vegan certified logo. And then you can always go to their website, check that out. And then there's some brands that are just like known across the board, like, oh yeah, that's a vegan brand. Yeah, I have a lot of people reach out to me and ask me like, oh, is this product from this brand vegan or cruelty free? And I'm always like, dude, you should really ask the company. Like they're going to have the most legit answer more than any beauty blogger or friend or word of mouth. You know what I mean? Got to get straight from the source, and you can be as picky as you want and ask them like, where are your suppliers from? Do you do third party testing? Where do you sell? Like just grill them. Um, but yeah, that's my best advice is to go straight to the company. Like send them an email, and more often than not, they're very upfront and responsive and timely.
So, for somebody who's maybe a new vegan and doesn't know the right questions to ask, you don't have any like sample emails on your site, do you, that you could recommend people send?
I have the questions in my book. Let me see. Okay, here, let me pull that up. So you would ask the company, does the company, let's see, or manufacturer test on animals? And then you can ask if any third parties engage in animal testing on their behalf. And then ask them about their ingredients. And if the ingredients from suppliers, if they've been tested on the products, if they've tested their products on the animals. And then again, if they sell in China or any foreign market that requires animal testing. That's pretty much pretty much the only questions you'd need to ask, I think.
Can I ask a stupid question? We have a segment on our podcast called Clueless Corner, and it's when Robin doesn't know something. Can you explain to me what it means when you say a third party?
Well, it just means they're not testing like in-house, like in their facility, like they're paying a company to do it.
Right, because
Yeah.
that could be kind of a loophole, couldn't it?
Exactly.
Or also if the ingredients are tested, not the end product. So if my lipstick is not tested on animals, but the 4 ingredients are tested on animals.
Exactly.
Another distinction
Right.
that people need to make. And I think also for new vegans, it's also really important to make them understand that vegan does not mean cruelty free necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a vegan product that's tested on animals. This doesn't have any animal products in it. So that's a really like basic first thing to learn, that vegan and cruelty free is both what you want.
Totally. Yep. And it's kind of like, how Oreos are, or it goes both ways. Like there's accidentally stuff that's accidentally vegan stuff. That's not cruelty free. And then there's cruelty free, the stuff that's not vegan. So, I think that is a little bit confusing for the newbies. Because they kind of just lump it all in together. And I have a post about that. I also address that in my book as well, because I think that can be confusing.
Yeah, I wrote a blog post on my blog about that because I wanted people to know the difference.
Yeah, that's
vegan,
helpful.
It says vegan, that's fine, that's great. I mean, when they're learning, that's great. But there's more to it, and I would want to know. So that's good.
Can you tell us more about your book?
Sure. So I've been working on it for, I don't know, like a year and a half, and I have a co-author, Crystal Fiedler. And some of my most popular posts on my website are my DIY beauty recipes. So I just figured I would create a book and not just include recipes, but also have it be a guide as far as, discovering cruelty-free beauty. And I even have a section where I talk about which, brands are all natural, which ones are vegan, which ones are cruelty-free. And then I just talk about the reasons why you should make your stuff from scratch. Obviously, it's affordable, it's fun to do, you're in control of the ingredients, and it's cruelty-free and vegan off the bat. And they're great for gifting and stuff like that. And it's just been a wild ride. It's been really fun, and I'm still like tripping that it's like out already, and it's like blowing my mind.
That's so fun. I had a little disaster where I tried to make blush. Have you ever made blush?
I have. I think it's oh, tell me what your disaster was. Tell me.
Well, I don't know why I thought this
Did
would
you
work.
look like Pikachu?
No, I
Oh.
wish. That would have been
See?
that would
Good
have been a
Pokemon
success.
reference?
Yeah, that was good. That was very good.
You know, I'm not good
very
with
proud of
Pokemon.
you.
I know that one has the rosy cheeks.
So I don't know anything about makeup, first of all. So the fact that I even attempted to do this was a bad idea to begin with. But I like took beets and I dehydrated them and then I put them in my coffee grinder and made them into a powder. And I tried to put it on my cheeks. And when I put it on, I was like, oh, this looks so good. And then in 0.1 second, it all fell off.
Yeah. So basically with that, you would need some kind of binder. And I feel like the beet, I have a recipe for blush in the book and it does use beets. It's tricky. You have to get the powder like super duper fine. Like it basically has to be kind of pore size. Like you got to put it through the grinder multiple times. And then you'll want to mix a little bit of like shea butter, or you could even use like a teeny bit of oil. But if you want like a real pigment, because that's going to be like uber natural, like super subtle, I would go with like micas and iron oxides and mixing those with like some arrowroot powder and a little bit of shea butter. Just for some more like serious oomphy color.
Oh. And so what do those products do? The arrowroot and stuff?
So the arrowroot powder is just going to be, it's going to help you apply it. It's also going to help with the color, so it kind of softens it up a bit. And then the micas and iron oxides, which sound like chemicals or whatever, but they're all natural just from the earth. And you can get those on Amazon or whatever. Those just they're like actual pigments. In fact, any all natural beauty line that has mineral makeup, that's basically what they use to color their stuff. But yeah, beets is a fun, like kudos to you for experimenting with beets as blush. I think that's so cool.
You're just being nice.
No, and you can also use beets to make like a lip stain. Like, I mean, the color, like beet juice, I think is one of my all-time favorite colors ever. It's so vivid and vibrant and like luscious. It's just
Your hair kind of matches beet juice.
Kind of. Like I think someone needs to come out with a beet juice shade. I would totally buy that.
I feel like I haven't given beet juice a chance.
I know.
The color. I need to, next time I'm going to pay more attention.
I try to cook a lot of things in my kitchen with beets, but sometimes it ends up looking red if you cook it. So raw, it's beautiful raw. And then the second it gets cooked, it turns more red, and then people think it looks like blood.
Blood? Oh.
So I have a friend who has a mica allergy, and so actually your book would be great for her.
Oh, there you go.
Are there recipes in there that don't involve mica?
I don't think, I mean, the couple recipes that do call for it, it's totally an optional ingredient. So yeah, this would be great. And this book also is completely gluten-free. I think it's a lot of allergens free. Like I don't think I have any nut stuff. I do have an almond thingy, but yeah, should be good for her.
I didn't know that gluten could be a topical allergy.
Yeah, it can be. People who are really super sensitive to it, it could be like disastrous. You have to have like extreme celiacs. It's not just like I don't know, how it's become trendy and it like people, it upsets their stomachs and this and that. I mean, I think you have to have like a severe allergy for it to affect you topically.
So one of the things you mentioned was how over the past 10 years, the number of vegan cosmetic companies has increased drastically, which is great. But it makes me wonder, if you have 10 years of content on your website, do you have to go back and update the old content when things change? Or how do you keep up if companies who used to have a strict stance on animal testing become more lenient or maybe
get bought out?
Yeah, I keep the posts up, but I do put a disclaimer or I'll give like an update. Like for instance, like Urban Decay or whatever. If they got acquired by a parent company that animal tests, I wouldn't just delete the post. I'll just put like an update just so people know, for reference. But yeah, on my blog, I don't review anything that's been tested, or that has, I don't know, I don't want to sound all snobby, but I don't support companies that are owned by parent companies that test. But I don't have any qualms with people that do, because a lot of those companies that are cruelty free that do get acquired usually maintain their cruelty free status, and I think that's cool. And I know there's like two sides of the coin, like you're showing support for cruelty free, even though their parent company's not, but you're showing there's a demand for it. And then there's the flip side where it's like, but the money's going straight into their hands. Da, 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 da. So it's this crazy, confusing thing. But I just feel like there's so many like purely vegan and cruelty free items to choose from. Like I don't even need to deal with those other companies. But to each his own.
Okay, so I'm kind of cheap, and I know like a lot of people we have on, we ask them about brands and stuff, especially like cosmetics or beauty products, and they're always like, "Oh, this one's so great," and I'm like, "Oh, that's too much for me." So, what are some of your favorite vegan, cruelty-free, but affordable brands, makeup brands?
Oh, that's a really good question. Well, yeah, there's quite a few drugstore brands that are vegan friendly. You guys know of Elf, right? They're probably the most affordable. Everything in their line is like $1, $3, $5. They have some like $10 palettes, but like super duper affordable. And they were all vegan except some of their makeup brushes. But as of this year, like their entire line is vegan and it's been cruelty free forever. And you can find them like Walmart, Target, Walgreens, wherever. They're everywhere. Milani is another drugstore brand that has a they're not all vegan, but they're all cruelty free, and they have a ton of vegan friendly items. And I have like lists of the products on my website that are vegan friendly. Let me see which other ones. Oh, do you guys know Pacifica? I mean, they're not super cheap, but they're definitely affordable, and you can find them at Target. And their line's all natural. So if you're, tending towards more like mineral makeup type stuff and natural pigments, like their stuff is high quality, and they're Portland based. I like promoting them. Physicians Formula, they're vegan friendly and cruelty free. Let's see what else. Pixie, Wet and Wild.
What do you think about the Kat Von D ingredients? Would you say that they're more on the natural side or more on the...
No, not even a little bit. Like out of all those brands I listed, I think Pacifica is the only like kind of drugstore friendly, more affordable brand that is more on the natural side. And I feel like in general, if you're going for all natural beauty, those things are usually they have a higher price point, which is unfortunate because, I mean, it's kind of like with fast food, they can go after the people that can't really afford it or whatever. Um, so yeah, I wish Elf has a mineral makeup, like they have mineral makeup items, which is kind of nice, that are a little more expensive, but still really, really reasonable. And again, you can buy those at drugstores.
Yeah, I recently tried their like the little pearls, they put in there and like
Yeah.
and I just started using that like a few weeks ago and I like it.
What is
Oh,
it? Can you
cool.
It's like okay, so it's like little balls
Mhm.
of the different skin tones. It's like to even out different colors to like even out your skin tone, and so all the little balls are in the little jar or whatever. And you take your thing and you just kind of sweep them like that, and then it comes up on your brush like you would a blush. You know what I mean, like that. The same motion,
okay.
and then you put it on. It just evens out your skin tone, and it's minerals.
Oh,
It's just
the
but it's
little
little balls.
balls are minerals?
Well, it's got minerals in them, but it's different like different colors, skin tone colors. So it's to even out the color of your skin. And it's Elf, and it was really affordable, and it was good. I like it so far.
Okay, so there's a lot we've mentioned. One of the things is your website, which we'll put a link to in the show notes. But I also know that you're on Instagram. Are you also on Twitter?
I am. I'm vegan_beauty. And I always wonder, people are going to think, ooh, she thinks she's a vegan beauty. And it's just because the review, I couldn't squeeze it all in. Do you know what I mean?
It's just because the rest of the world thinks you're a vegan beauty.
Oh, I just hope no one ever thinks that, because it's not who I am.
And so your new book, I know that you're finding it in bookstores, but for people who don't like to leave their house, where do you suggest that they buy it?
Oh, right. So it's available on Amazon. And I think it's on sale on Amazon. It's like I think retail it's like $24.95, but it's on sale for $20, I think, on Amazon, and there's free shipping. And I'm lazy. I like to buy all my stuff on Amazon, so I totally get it.
And can you remind us the name of it?
Sure, it's the Compassionate Chick's Guide to DIY Beauty.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you guys. And you gals are so much fun. I wish we could hang out in real life. Alrighty. Well, thank you guys so much. This was fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
So that wraps up our lucky episode 13 Halloween edition. And if you're listening on YouTube or iTunes and you haven't subscribed, we would love if you did. And you can leave us comments on YouTube or iTunes, and you can send us an email, and you can leave us comments on Instagram or Twitter. And if you are listening on iTunes, please rate us 5 stars so that we can share it with the world. Ashley, if listeners want to find you on the World Wide Web, where should they look?
You can find me at my blog, theveganadventure.com. Still working on updating stuff. It's happening. We have blogging nights, and that's when I work on it. So it's coming. I am going to Chicago in November and Berlin and Belfast in December. So I'll be having some new stuff coming for all those places in the new year. So I'm gonna be on top of it. I promise.
I don't want to break it to our listeners, but blogging night is only half blogging, and it's half
talking about cute
chit-chat.
actors.
There's a lot of chit-chat that happens.
Yeah. It's still more blogging than I get done at home.
Okay.
So we're making progress.
Yay!
So what about you, Robin? Where can people find you?
You can find all my latest recipes on vegandollhouse.com. And if you just want to look at pictures of what I'm eating and making, you can go to Instagram, where I am Vegan Dollhouse, as well as on Twitter, Periscope, and Snapchat.
Hey, thanks for listening.
Bye.